Hi guys, I hope you're having a good day. This breakdown of the 3070 Ti is a little later than I originally planned because in my breakdown of the 3080 Ti and 3070 Ti announcement video, I said I'm just going to estimate based on Nvidia's reluctance to talk too much about this card that it's about 7% faster than the non-Ti, and if that's close, it's in no way worth an extra 20% on the price. And well, that's about it. This card is so nothingy. What is there to say? And no wonder Nvidia themselves spent less than 30 seconds talking about it. But I have made this video, and there is something worth talking about. First off, we need to be clear about what the product offers and what it doesn't. So, it is not a sensible 1080p card because it offers nothing new here, and there are plenty of other options for high FPS gaming that are cheaper and have been out longer. At 4K, it's of limited use because of its 8GB VRAM buffer. We know games like Doom Eternal use about 9GB now, and that will just become more and more common in the future. People can get a bit funny about VRAM quantities. A way to look at it is that if the 3070 Ti is roughly equivalent to a 2080 Ti in terms of performance, and that card had 11GB of VRAM, either the 2080 Ti had 3GB of VRAM too much, or the 3070 and Ti have slightly less VRAM than they truly need. I'll leave that up to you to decide for yourself. So that leaves 1440p. And here we see that the 7% extra performance over the $100 cheaper 3070 non-Ti puts them firmly in the same performance class. And if there's one thing my decades of being a hardware enthusiast has taught me, it's that if there are two cards which perform effectively the same, then the cheapest one is the better card. If we scale this difference to the 3070 delivering 60 FPS, then the Ti manages 64.5 FPS, which is much less noticeable than $100. It is also worth considering that if you are in any way CPU limited, that extra performance evaporates. And so if you are in the market to build a new PC right now, best of luck to you if you are. Presuming you can find the components, spending an extra $100 on your CPU or somewhere else in the system will probably give you better results. And now we get to the important detail. Power. The extra 7% performance comes at a cost of 31% extra power. And it really shouldn't, so there's something wrong with that. The GDDR6X of the Ti does pull a lot more power than the non-X of the non-Ti, as it were. But the 3080, which has 20% more GDDR6X, only pulls 8% more power, and that's for the less efficient GA102 die. So the vast majority of the 3070 Ti's extra 31% draw comes from the core, but the core density is only 4% higher, and running at 2% slower anyway, so where is this extra power going, you ask? Well, for that, dear viewer, cast your mind back to 2010 and Fermi. Jim from Adored TV is a good reference if you're unfamiliar. His history of Nvidia GeForce is a great video, and I seem to recall he's done some others on the subject as well. The short version is that with the first version of Fermi, the only way Nvidia could get the performance was to dump loads of power in and then deal with the excess heat that produced, making Fermi 1.0 the textbook hot and loud GPU. Fermi 2.0 was 6 months later, fixed this, and the 580 was about 25% faster than the GTX 480 while drawing slightly less power. With the 3070 Ti, we have something similar going on. To get the 4% extra cores running, they had to clock them down a bit and dump a vast amount of extra power in them. That means the 3070 Ti is replacing the 3070 and maybe the 3060 Ti, as that's where these dies should be. Not just from a providing availability point of view, but on a technical level. The 3070 is dead, and I expect it will never appear in any significant volume because the dies are all in the Ti. So, availability allowing, what's the alternative? The 3080 is looking like a great deal. Sure, it's an extra $100 or 16%, but provides 18% more performance at 1440p, or about 23% more performance at 4K. Except you probably won't see the 3080 ever again because Nvidia pulled a similar thing with the 3080 Ti. However, you can buy from AMD, assuming you can find the AMD option, of course. Nvidia have had two mindset advantages, better ray tracing performance, but on this class of GPU the performance just isn't there and you'll turn it off anyway. Secondly, there's DLSS, which has been Nvidia magic, but FSR, which will probably be my next analysis video as it launches in a few days, should mostly counter this point. It does work a little differently, but will be available on way more cards and in way more games and achieves similar results. So what matters is base performance and cost, and all I can do is look at this in terms of MSRP and what the cost should be. So for $20 less than the 3070 Ti, there is the RX 6800, which has a narrow 8.5% lead, 1440p, and a smaller lead at 4K, around 5%, but with twice the VRAM at 16GB, has no concerns at all about buffer size. Or, for only $50 more than 3070 Ti, the 6800 XT, which is a class above the 3070 Ti and trades blows with the 3080, generally winning at 1440p but losing out slightly at 4K, again with 16GB of VRAM, and is in fact as close in performance at 1440p to the $1,500 3090 as the 3070 Ti is to the 3070. So I guess my view is the polar opposite of YouTube Tech King Linus, in that you just shouldn't buy it, unless you have no other options. It is objectively the worst GPU in and around that $600 MSRP. It is inefficient and outperformed or at least matched by cheaper GPUs. In theory, cheaper GPUs anyway. Considering it will stop you buying the objectively better 3070 and just pushes the price of this level of performance up, it is one of the worst Nvidia products I can remember. Most of those are Fermi, which I guess is no coincidence as this shares the just dump loads of power into it and deal with the heat philosophy. Incidentally, this card has a 3080 style cooler, not the 3070 style. It's got the thermal performance of higher tier products, but not the actual performance, which is where it matters. I hope you found this video interesting, and maybe even learned something from it. But if you're hearing this, have a great day, and thank you.